Hey there, it's Amy from thecrazycraftlady.com. Today we're going to make a dollar store fall craft using mop heads from the dollar store as well as these foam pumpkins that are super popular at this time of year. To make this craft, you will also need white paint and a brush, hot glue gun, hot glue sticks, a twig from your yard, and some faux leaves of any type. So to get started, you just want to disassemble the pumpkin, take the top off it and the tag, and then you just want to paint the whole pumpkin white. I'm using super inexpensive white acrylic craft paint. You can use chalk paint, really whatever you have on hand. And the whole point of this, you could even spray paint it for all I care. But the whole point is just to give like a base coat to hide some of that orange, since we are going to be covering the pumpkin with the yarn from the mop head. It's just more difficult to cover all the orange with the yarn, so it's easier to paint the pumpkin white so that if any of the pumpkin pokes through between the yarn strands, it's not quite as obvious as if it were bright orange. So just give everything a quick coat, and it doesn't even have to be perfect, just like a quick coat. So then once that paint has dried, you want to disassemble a mop head. I find that you can do about one foam pumpkin per mop head. So you just want to grab a few strands and pull really hard. The first couple are the hardest to get out, and then after that it's pretty quick and easy to take all the yarn strands out. And then you just want to come in with your hot glue gun. And for this, I also finally, after burning myself way too many times, I invested in one of these little fingertip protectors, and it's been a game changer as far as me not like destroying my fingertips. Like, I may actually have fingerprints left at the end of my lifetime after starting to use this little fingertip protector cover. So, pro tip there. And then you just want to start hot gluing. Like, I fold one strand in half and glue it at the top of the pumpkin, and then trim it down to length because they're just a little bit too long, and then secure it at the bottom of the pumpkin with hot glue. I find it easiest to start by having some fairly evenly spaced strands so you can follow the guidelines of the ridges of the pumpkins, or just kind of space them out however you want, and then fill in the sections as you go. So I'm really going to speed up this video here, but the whole point is you just fill in the sections, and then as the sections fill up, when you hot glue that strand at the top of the pumpkin, it won't be at the very top every time because otherwise the yarn will overlap too much. So then you kind of start ending up having shorter and shorter yarn strands that you're hot gluing on as you go. So there's the spacing, and then you just keep filling in and hot gluing. This is a great craft to do when you're watching a movie or listening to a podcast or something. It's just pretty repetitive, pretty easy, not a lot of special skills involved. But then eventually we'll fill in all of these gaps and then trim the yarn lengths down to size. And then finally, just go to your yard and grab a stick or a twig, and then just cut a few little faux greenery leaves, pop them in the top to form your stem, and that's it. So for this, I also made the pumpkin two other ways. One, I used the same white mop head, and I painted the yarn, so to speak. So bear with me. This is kind of a weird process. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But I just took like a baking dish or like a shallow dish, some water, and then I added some green chalk paint. Use whatever kind of paint you want. You could also use fabric dye, but I just had this paint on hand, so that's what I grabbed first thing. So you water down the paint, and then lay down like parchment paper or wax paper or something to protect your surface, and then dunk the yarn into the paint water. I did not wear gloves for this because this is like super washable paint, and I knew it wasn't going to stain my hands. But if it's like a bright color like blue, you may want to like wear gloves for this. But then you just like dunk the yarn and wring it out, and then once everything's completely dried, you follow the same exact process for hot gluing the yarn strands onto the pumpkin. So it's just a way to make a colorful pumpkin out of the white mop head. And then I also used these gray and white mop heads, which I have mixed feelings about. Because the material is different, it's more of a synthetic. So the white mop heads are more of a natural fiber and the gray and white are more synthetic. So they're more prone to fraying. So it's a little bit more difficult to hot glue them on. I don't know if I like the look as much just because it does have the synthetic look, but that is an option if you like it. So here are my 3 little fall dollar store pumpkins. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Until next time, happy making.